Welcome to the blessed quiet of not having a jackhammer go through your ceiling and the opportunity to do some systems of equations by adding. It's easy to give this video a like if you find it helpful. Please do so. Drop a comment or question below and subscribe to the channel for more math help. As always, pause the video to work these problems on your own and then come back to check your work. Solve each of these using the adding method, and remember that there will be multiple ways to do each of these problems. So as I am going through my work on the solutions, you might have done them a different way than I'm doing them, but we should all land in the same spot. Okay, so for this one is already set up for adding, and I know that because it has positive 4x and negative 4x. So I see that, and immediately I don't entertain using any other strategies. I am not graphing this. I am not substituting in this. Okay, we are going to add these because 4x plus negative 4x is 0. Negative 3y plus 2y is negative 1y, and 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4. We'll go ahead and divide both sides by negative 1 to get y is equal to 4. Now I can plug that into either of the equations. Pick which one you want. I'm going to pick the top one because it has fewer negatives. And so I end up with 4x minus 12 is equal to 1. Add 12 to both sides, so 4x is equal to 13. And then divide both sides by 4 to get x is equal to 13/4. So we have y is equal to 4 and x is equal to 13/4. Now for this next one, we got to do a little bit of thinking. And again, the way you thought about this might be different from how I'm thinking about it. I'm looking at it and am thinking I can multiply the top equation by either a positive 2 or a negative 2. A positive 2 will get my x's to drop out. A negative 2 will cause my y's to drop out. So being a fan of positive numbers, I'm going to pick the positive 2. And so we have 2x plus 4y equals 10. And negative 2x plus 4y equals negative 1. 2x plus negative 2x is 0. 4y plus 4y is 8y. And 10 plus negative 1 is 9. Divide both sides by 8. And I get y is equal to 9/8. So I'm thrilled with that. Now I can take that 9/8 and I can plug it in, but I don't really want to. Okay, if I have another option to get around having to plug in those fractions, I'm going to take it. So I mentioned before that I could multiply by either positive 2 or negative 2. Negative 2 is not a big deal. So this time I'm going to multiply by negative 2. And that's going to cause my y's to drop out. So I'll have negative 2x minus 4y equals negative 10. And then negative 2x plus 4y is equal to negative 1. Negative 2x plus negative 2x is negative 4x. Negative 4y plus 4y is 0. And negative 10 plus negative 1 is negative 11. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. And so this will be positive 11/4. And that, I mean, it's not a huge amount of work. It does require you to think a little bit. You've got to look at what numbers you have in play and where you can multiply and what you need to multiply by to get the nicest thing out of it. If you can do that, then you've got a pretty clean strategy for solving the system. All right, for this next one, I am going to try to eliminate the x's because the x's, 4 is a multiple of 2, so I can multiply just one of my equations. If I multiply this by a negative 2, that will give me a negative 4x. So that will work. So I'll have negative 4x minus 6y equals negative 24. And my bottom equation, for now at least, is staying the same. Negative 4x plus 4x is 0. Negative 6y plus 5y is negative 1y. And negative 24 plus 18 is negative 6. Divide by negative 1, and we get y is equal to 6. So now if I wanted to do the multiplication again, I would have to multiply both of the equations to get rid of the y, okay, because 3 and 5 aren't multiples of each other. So I would have to multiply like the top by 5 and the bottom by 3, and one of them would have to be negative. And multiplying those things like 12 by 5 and 18, like the number's going to get kind of big. Y is equal to 6, though that's not an awful thing to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and take that top equation and substitute in y is equal to 6. So 3 times 6 is 18. We'll go ahead and subtract 18 from both sides. And this is 2x equals negative 6. Divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to negative 3. And so on that one, I opted to do the substitution in because that was the simplest way to do it. But you might have opted to do something else, okay? And you would not be wrong as long as you got those answers, okay? And you can explain which way you went to do it. You're fine. All right, question 4. Question 4, I have to multiply both of these. I don't have any multiples of anything. So I'm going to start with the y's because the y's already have opposite signs. And whether or not I want to multiply again to deal with the x's is going to depend on what I get for the y. So we're going to start with eliminating the y's. And I can get there by multiplying the top equation by 2 and the bottom equation by 5. That will give me the 10. So we have 4x plus 10y is equal to 16. And 15x minus 10y is equal to 45. 4x plus 15x is 19x. And then 10y plus negative 10y is 0. And what do I have there? That looks like a 61. Love that. Divide both sides by 19. And we get x is equal to 61 over 19. Not touching that. So we are going to do another multiplication. Okay, I don't want to deal with that. Now, could I deal with it? Yes, I could. I can do fractions. But if I have the option to not do them, then I'm not going to. So to get rid of the x's, we're going to switch those coefficients around. So we're going to multiply by 3 and 2. And one of them needs to be negative. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply the top one by a negative. You might have picked the bottom one. You might have not done this at all. You might have substituted in the 61 over 19. Like you can do this however you want, okay? So we now have negative 6x minus 15y equals negative 24. And positive 6x minus 4y equals 18. Negative 6x plus 6x is 0. Negative 15y plus negative 4y is negative 19y. And I believe this is what, a negative 6. Negative 24 plus 18 is negative 6. Divide both sides by negative 19, and we get y. Now, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So 61 over 19 and 6 over 19. One thing I do like about this option is you don't have to deal with the messy fraction. If you were doing this by substitution, you have no choice but to either convert over to doing this or to take that messy fraction and plug it in and then work out all the arithmetic with the fraction. Getting good at this method does give you a way to avoid that. So we're not talking about tons of steps here. If we want to do a quick recap, we have a multiplication step and the answer, the adding, the division. Different multiplication step with the answer, the adding, and the division. So maybe 6 steps total to solve both, and we do get yucky answers there, so not too bad. For this one, what do we want to do here? we can multiply by 2 or -2 on that top equation, or what you can do is you can multiply the bottom equation. So here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing 6, 4, and 10. And so what I'm seeing there is, it looks like everything in that equation has been multiplied by a 2. Let you think about that. So like it might have come from this. Okay, I'll like kind of take a look at that. So 2 times 3 would give you the 6x there, 2 times 2y would give you the 4y, and 2 times 5 would give you the 10. So I'm thinking, let's just undo that multiplication. Like I don't want to multiply by 2. So you might think, well, how could I undo multiplying by a 2? Well, that would be dividing by 2 or multiplying by 1/2. So I'm going to take that bottom equation and multiply it by 1/2. And that is going to give me 3x plus 2y equals 5. 3x plus 3x is 6x. Negative 2y plus 2y is 0. And 7 plus 5 is 12. Divide both sides by 6. And we get x is equal to 2. And I feel pretty good plugging that in pretty much anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. We'll plug it into the bottom equation, which I could use my adjusted version of it, but okay. So 6 times 2 is 12. We'll subtract 12 from both sides to get 12 minus 12 is 0. So 4y is equal to -2. Divide both sides by 4, and -2/4 simplifies to -1/2. So we have x is 2 and y equals -1/2. Now, you could have done that in any number of other ways. Okay, so what I would expect most students to have done, so if I were assigning this problem to my students, I would have expected most of them to have taken the top equation and multiplied that by 2. Okay, and that will give us 6x minus 4y equals 14. 6x plus 4y is equal to 10. We get 12x plus 0 equals 24. And oh, look, it's the same answer. X is equal to 2. So again, remember that there's multiple ways to do that. And as I'm going through these, sometimes I will try to show you just other ways to look at it, things that you might notice, like how does your teacher or how do your classmates maybe do these problems so fast? What is it that they're seeing in the problems that maybe you're missing when you're looking at them? So, but as long as you can get there and you understand the steps that you took, your teacher says, can you explain to me what you did right here? Where did this equation come from? And you can explain it, then you are good to go.